Rubbish, rubbish, rubbish. Hi people, we're talking about As Beautiful as You, a Chinese romantic drama series starring Tang Sung Yu. Hopefully I said that right. And Zhu Kai. It's a 40 episoder, and yeah, I finished the whole thing and rewatched it twice, guys. Do all the right things and let's just hop into it. So, it wasn't a recommend. Maybe it was. Do you know what? I don't even remember how many recommendations I get on a daily basis anymore. Usually I just add them to my watch list, either on my drama list or on my Excel sheet or whatever. But this one I watched because of Shukai. So I'd seen him in She and Her Perfect Husband, and I liked that to a certain degree. It was kind of like a mix match. That review should be out already, so you can check it out if you like. And I wanted to see him in more things where he could shine. He was fantastic in this. I could watch him just like I can watch Yang Yang, I can watch Yang Mi, I can watch cdrama, I can watch all of them. On and on and on. I am in love with these people, honestly, in the most platonic way possible. I keep saying that every single time. In the most platonic way possible, I am head over heels in love with these people. So I watched this because of him. And after seeing him in She and Her Perfect Husband, I really enjoyed it, but I wanted him to shine more because he seemed to be a little more reserved in that one. Not as bubbly as he was in Falling Into Your Smile, which was my very first introduction to him. And I've watched that 700 times. I will say it every single time. It's one of my all-time favorites. In fact, I think my introduction to Chinese drama series were honestly some of the top ones, because so far the ones that I've watched after them, they haven't all been great. There was one that I watched because of Yang Yang, and even Yang Yang couldn't keep me there. Something about firefighters. What was it? Fireworks of Your Heart or something like that. Rubbish, rubbish, rubbish. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I still get heated when I think about it. Even Yang Yang could not keep me. And you know the worst part? I actually liked the actors in that. The story was what let me down. It was so terrible, so awful. Moving on. Let's come back to As Beautiful as You. I don't know how I got into that tangent just now. So the drama blends workplace struggles, personal growth, and a romance into a 40 episode journey. I watched it on YouTube. I think it's also, you get it on Viki and maybe WeTV, but I watched mine on YouTube. It had everything I needed. It had all the 40 episodes and it had subtitles, which was all I wanted. Plot: the story follows Xing, a skilled professional with dreams of entrepreneurship. After leaving her high-paying job, she was basically forced out, let's be honest. She takes a leap of faith into the competitive tech industry. Her journey is filled with challenges, rejections, and self-doubt. But she receives unexpected support from Han Ting, a sharp and influential CEO, who has had a crush on her for like 10 years. So obviously, yeah. I mean, at first he didn't really want to invest in her company. He made her prove herself. And we'll talk about it actually. We'll break it down as the review goes on. So their relationship starts with mentorship and business negotiation, slowly evolving into a romance filled with push and pull dynamics. Han Ting is seemingly cold. He's a seemingly cold businessman. Will I describe him as cold? I don't know, because to me, he was the better person in the entire thing, because he was the smart one. She was operating on unicorn fats and sprinkles, and if not for him, she would have drowned. In fact, she wouldn't even have made it. She would have been in debt, would have had to go back into the working world, and would have been in debt for the rest of her life. So for me, he was the better part of the entire relationship between them, whether it was business or romance. Moving on. He's a businessman who is drawn to Xing, her determination and sincerity. As the drama unfolds, they face professional betrayals, financial hardships, and misunderstandings that test their bond. So, many things I had to scratch her head because I'm like, you gotta calm down, girl. There are a lot of things that I did not really like about the series, and I wouldn't even say it distracted too much from the overall series. There's just things that I didn't really appreciate. The first thing was her goddamn hair. Whoever styled this girl hated her. They hated her. You cannot tell me different. And you know how I know that it was true love for Han Ting? He fell in love with this. This was them in college or university or whatever it is that they met the first time. He fell in love with this. Who did a reverse Princess Diaries makeover on her? And why did they choose that hairstyle? You know the thing? This hairstyle bugged me. It really bugged me. The reason why I actually watched this twice was because I was so distracted by this hairstyle for the entirety of the first time that I watched the series, that I was losing major plots of the story. Because all I could see was red looking at the hair. It pissed me off. There were some episodes where I would start thinking, oh, she actually looks good, and I would have to physically slap myself. I said, no, you're accepting this rubbish because they're putting it in your face. The hair was not bad. It's the fact that they put it up. It was always like this. So it made it look worse than actually holding my head on the internet. Oh my God. That's how stressed this hair made me. Oh, I hated it. And it pissed me off because this girl is beautiful and they made her look frumpy. Her hair needed to go. They needed to take that wig and burn it to hell and send it back to where it came from. Now that has been cleared, let's talk about the strengths of this series. So strength was pacing. Pacing was steady and it was engaging. In the first half, they offered a very realistic portrayal of, entrepreneurship. Like I said, she was operating on unicorn fats and sprinkles, thinking that everything will just work out fine for her because she's, talented and she knows the business. He was the one who kept on, he was harsh about it. But sometimes, people like her needed tough love, and that's what he was giving her, and I really appreciated it because he kept on steering her in the right direction, always pushing her, to do her best, teaching her without her even realizing it, because he was very pragmatic. He had run his own business, he had created his own business, built it in Germany to the point where now he was buying businesses. There was no business they called in China that this man didn't own, whether he invested or he owned it. Anything they call, Han Ting invested. Han Ting owns this. I'm just a figurehead. Han Ting. So why she would not listen to him when he was trying to give her advice was beyond me. But I get it. They had a history, and she was not really trying to pull from that. But it was stupid. Anywho, another strength for them was the development of their romantic side of things. It really did feel organic, and they avoided excessive cliches. I loved it. Now, one thing that they lost me at is that when they had their fights and they separated for a bit, the maturity that they showed when they came back together was not, it was too much for the amount of time that they were apart, because I think they were apart maybe 1 year max. And then the way they came back and they were both mature and decided that the relationship, they just needed to communicate and everything, it seemed like this should have happened in that 10 years the first time around. So you know how they met in college? I think they should have dated then, had their problems, broken up. 10 years later, they come together, then the maturity kind of plays it. It just didn't fit. It seemed misplaced to me. Did it work out for them? Yes, I loved it. I loved the switch, and I loved how, they were more secure in their relationship. They were more secure in communicating with each other. They felt more secure in, all the testaments, all the things that were trying to come at them on the outside of their relationship, and it didn't really faze them at all. Love that for them. However, I think the timing was misplaced. Another strength for them was I actually liked the second couple, the second romantic connection that was going on. It was her friend and his uncle. I still don't understand the relationship, but it's rich families. We're not questioning it. Because the uncle was younger than him. It's just like, okay, it's fine. But I like that. I like that dynamic that they had going on, and I like their relationship. I wish that it had a little more heat and romance and passion. The other friend that was having, one night stands and it developed into something. That story wasn't bad, but I didn't really like how that story ended in the whole grand scheme of things. I didn't like who she ended up with. It wasn't realistic to me that she would end up with the business partner and not the father of this thing that was, that she was having the one night stands with. The streamer, the live streamer, who is the roommate and the best friend, that ended up with the uncle who is younger than Han Ting. Guys, I'm sorry if this is confusing. I'm just as confused as you, but let's just go together. I like that story more. I love that she had this relationship with his mother, and that developed into, forming a. It was first enemies. They were rivals basically. He was supporting her rival while they were live streaming, so she didn't really like him. But that kind of developed into a friendship and then a romance. I just wish that the romance was a little more romantic, if you get me. But I really liked that story and that dynamic that was going on for them. Let's talk weaknesses. A lot of the episodes were drag. I mean, the business conflicts, yes, but I couldn't even tell you who was fighting who. You know what the thing is? The first time I watched it and the second time, the skip had not worked this hard for me. You see this. You see my thumb because I watch on my phone, guys. You see my thumb. It was moving like pa, 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 pa. The skipping, it was serious. Anytime that they were having business conflict, I was like, this is nonsense and I don't need to know it. I don't care to know it. It wasn't enough for me to stay rooted in the series. And they all do this. She and her perfect husband, they had law cases that they were fighting. What was the other one? Which one did I just watch? God, I've watched so many, guys. It's all melding in my head. It just didn't feel. I wasn't drawn into it like I could have been. So that was one of the weaknesses. And there were a lot of filler episodes, but it's like we don't need all of this. Wrap it up. Let's get out of here. They should get back together and let's move on. The way it ended was beautiful. I like how they showed us their dynamic because I watched the extra episode. There's like an extra special after all the 40 episodes, so basically 41, and it shows you their life when they get married and have their kids and they age. And then at the end of that, he died first, and she followed him, I think, and then they rewinded. The rewind, guys. Goose pimp pulls. The rewind was beautiful. They rewound the whole story back to when they met again, that first incident where her bike or whatever runs into the car and they stop. Beautiful. I like that. It just gave that whole, second chance. Maybe we can redo this all over again and tell the story different. I loved it. What I didn't like was that older woman that, I don't know, she was older than him, wasn't he? The business partner, or the one that was her, was Jiu Yue Xi's boss. Tried to pimp her out, and then was in that one that was in love with the Han Ting. Was she not older? The way she was following him, it was disgusting. And not because she was older, guys. I wouldn't care if she was younger, but the way she was obsessive about him and just trying to claim him by all means, it was gross. And I just didn't like that whole part of it. I didn't like it at all. It was not my thing. But the thing that annoyed me the most about the entire series was the hair. And I will say this. Sorry. I just can't. I cannot accept it. I cannot. Because what they did to her was diabolical. And whoever, greenlit that hair, they hate this woman. They hated the actress. They hated her. And it's unfortunate that she had to just sit there and take it because there was nothing else that she could do. Oh, no. Let's talk romance and chemistry. The romance between Jiu Yue Xi and Han Ting, it was great. He was in love with her from the get-go. She didn't really see him as a love interest, but it kind of built over time. So it's kind of a slow burn, but it was a slow burn until they finally get together and they're sitting, one minute they're sitting in the club, next thing he's unzipping her dress. I said, what happened? I blinked. What happened? I shit you not. I was sitting here and I was like, did I miss something? They were betting, they were playing games, and all of a sudden, he's like, wham, bam, on the bed, flipped, zip. I was like, oh damn, okay. That was rushed for me. It was the scene itself was very sexy in itself. The way they did it was good, but how they got there, the wires were not connecting for me. The banter and mutual respect and emotional growth, it makes you really believe, their romance. And when they come back together after they break up, and he finds her in Germany and everything, the way their relationship develops from there, I really loved it. Absolutely fantastic. They did not need an accident. They really did not need that whole kidnapping situation. It was unnecessary. Filler, unnecessary. They didn't need it. They were already going to get back together. We didn't need the life or death situation. It was unwarranted, unneeded, unnecessary. I don't know why they have to stick to this particular tropes that we have to see in every single series. It's not necessary. Change the plot, change the scene. But other than that, I think it was good. Soundtrack was okay. I didn't really see anything that stood out, or there's nothing really memorable about it, to be honest. I can't really remember, but it was pleasant. It wasn't offensive in any way. Not like that one song in Hidden Love that starts with "I can taste you when I'm breathing." I've watched it so many times, so that's in my head now. But overall, honestly, I would give this an 8/10 if I'm being generous. Yeah, because it was well executed, especially for the romantic workplace drama, and the realistic struggles that they went through throughout the entire series, and the heartwarming romance. They did it well. They did it well. But I would say that some characters needed development, some characters needed changing. The filler episodes needed to be shunned to make it a well-rounded series. But overall, definitely worth the watch. If you haven't seen it, give it a try. If you're into 40 episodes, give it a try. Otherwise, you can stick to this review because I basically gave you the entire plot. Not really, but really. I'm a Shukai fan, so I'm already on my next one. I think the next one he did was, I can't remember the name, but definitely something else he did. I'm actually going to do a period piece, guys, because I'm so in love with Yang Mi. I want to see him in something. And then he's in something with Jiu Yue Xi, who stole my heart in Hidden Love. This girl just like she reached in and just grabbed it. Love her. I'm going to do their own period piece. I think it was shot in 2022. It is on Netflix. I can't remember the name right now, but I will be watching that. I don't really like period pieces, but I'm willing to give it a try because of these two actors, because I like them so much. So I will be doing that, and that will probably be my next review. Maybe 2 reviews from now. I don't know what's going on. The goal here is that we are doing reviews for series, Korean and Chinese, and even Japanese. And whenever we're doing reactions for reality TV, Korean, Japanese, and Chinese. That's the trend moving forward, because I've noticed that the series that I react to don't really get that much traction, especially on Patreon, but the reality TV you guys want. So that's what it's gonna be. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the review. Be sure to do all the right things, and I'll see you in the next one.